Everything in life is a choice you make. Like a game of chess, the choices before us are infinite. Just like chess, you might sometimes end up making the wrong moves and suffer the consequences a good number of times before you learn from your mistakes. The famous author of The Fault in Our Stars, John Green, once said that he barely passed 11th grade English. He felt that reading a live novel on a table and dissecting it was like a form of torture. He missed a lot of classes. He was supposed to read Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison for a school reading, but he read only a few parts of it and never turned anything in on time. His teacher wrote on his report card that year, John has reached a juncture where he just can't mail it in anymore. But later, when he read Toni Morrison's novel, The Bluest Eye, he loved the novel, and that's when he realized that mailing it in itself was a privilege. That summer, he proceeded to read other works of Toni Morrison and read Song of Solomon once again, and this time he finished it fully. The exact same book, but when he chose to read it, it was an unforgettable experience of his life. But when he was forced to read it, he couldn't. In fact, it is the same for all of us. How many times have you found yourself hating a particular subject in school, but then appreciating it later when you're an adult? We feel empowered when we are choosing our problems, but we feel victimized and miserable when it is forced upon us against our will. The famous author of the all-time classic Harry Potter books, J.K. Rowling, had just gotten a divorce, was on government aid, and could barely afford to feed her baby daughter in 1994, just 3 years before the first Harry Potter book was published. She could have simply chosen to give up and say, I can't do anything, or I have no choice, I'm poor. But she did not. She took responsibility for her life, even though she can't be totally blamed for her circumstances. Imagine you met with a car accident. The person who hit you missed the red light. What could have you possibly done? It is not your fault, but here you are, suffering the consequences for someone else's carelessness. You could respond in any way in this situation. You could simply lay there saying it's not your fault, but you don't. We are constantly thrown with problems in our life that are not a result of our fault, but still we are responsible for the consequences. We have the responsibility to choose how we are going to react in these situations. For some, this might sound unconvincing. How am I responsible for the pain I experience when I lose my closed ones? The pain you experience during tragedy and loss is real. You didn't choose your close ones to die, nor was it your fault. However, it is your responsibility to cope with that loss even though it is clearly unwanted. How you react is your own choice. You choose your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Pain is inevitable, but we get to choose what it means to us. Even in claiming that you have no choice in the incident and you simply want to bring your close ones back, you are making a choice. One of many ways you could have chosen to react. You have the power to choose the type of life you want to live. You aren't a victim of bad circumstances, bad luck, or a bad childhood. Instead, you can take control and create whatever type of life you want. Even though everything you experience is real and worthy of pain, it is ultimately your choice as to how you respond to it. Whether you want it or not, directly or indirectly, you are choosing everything. As Annie Dillard once said, how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives.